Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is extra information that's going to help you out on your design folio. So we've already started by creating a PowerPoint, populating 16 different slides, and then starting to specify what our function is that we're wanting from our major project, so our design brief, the limiting factors, which are our constraints, and some product investigations of something similar in function to what it is that you're wanting to make. So now we're going to move on with the rest of the design folio. I'm going to open up a PowerPoint which is different from the one that I had in last clip. So with this one here, we've got the title page to start with and a picture of something similar to what the major project is that you're planning to propose. We've got your table of contents. This is actually better to come back at the end and edit, as these page numbers are going to adjust a little bit as you're coming through, and you might choose to add 2 slides in for your product investigations rather than just one, and same with your drawings as well. So the main thing here is our need, problem or challenge, and your statement of intent. You can do these on 2 separate slides. I've collapsed them onto the one slide just because they can be quite small. Both of these are quite large statements. So to start with, the need, problem or challenge is the reason why it is that you're making this major project. So in this one it says, I habitually leave bottles on the floor in my bedroom, which aggravates my parents as it resembles teenage laziness. This problem is also enforced by the lack of storage solution. A systematic design is needed to ensure that this clutter does not continue so that my room can appear organized and clean. This is quite an elaborate need, problem or challenge statement. You can just stick to 50 words. So you may come through and you may have decided the desk that's in my room has become structurally unsound, and so I need to design up a new one to replace it. Or you could come through and say, my need, problem or challenge. My challenge is I'm in year 11. I undertake full-time study and I would really like to supplement my income. So I would like to make something relatively cheap for my major project and then sell it off on Marketplace or Gumtree at a profit to be able to generate income while I'm completing my year 11 studies. And that is completely fine to do. Other things may be that you need some kind of storage solution that you don't have at the moment, or you need some kind of ergonomic seating. Whatever it is, list it down. Only needs to be 50 words, 100 words max. Your statement of intent is pretty much what it is that you're wanting to make. So if you've said in your need, problem or challenge that you've got some kind of storage solution that you need to corral all of your stationery on your desk, I intend to design and build a desktop storage unit. It's that simple, just one sentence of I intend to design and build a shoe rack or a bookcase. Just something very simple. Moving on, I'm going to quickly gloss over these ones because we've already covered this in a previous clip. The design brief. So in this one, it's just got dot points. The design brief project proposal key criteria is that it's a handheld bottle caddy. It holds a minimum of 6 full bottles. This one's got the requirement is to include housing or rebate joints. Yours will be different based on the project you're operating with. We've got having multiple compartments for storage, including a sturdy base and be made out of solid timber. So that's the design brief requirements for this bottle caddy. Yours will be different, but a minimum of 6 dot points is fine. Constraining ideas, so this one's got a maximum size to it so that it will fit on the desk where it's going, won't have sharp edges, will have dividers. The square shape using rebates and housing joinery, 8 weeks construction time, and a natural product finishing solution like olive oil or beeswax or pale boiled linseed oil, something that's a natural finish. Yours will be different. You can say, so this one here says the maximum size constraint is the 340 by 200 by 200 so that it will fit onto the top of a desk. Yours might actually be that you've only got a small space in the back of a hatchback to be able to transport your project home. So you'd need to measure the space that's in the back of that hatchback so that your project will actually fit, not just on the back seat, but in the space getting it in through the door as well. We've already covered our product investigations. And now we're moving on to some hardware, tools and materials. So this is anything that's extra, that's not something that's a solid timber joint, that's not something that you can manufacture at school. So this here could be possible handles to hold this bottle caddy. You could come through and you could add drawer slides and have a look at the most weighting that they'll be able to hold, so that if you've got something quite large and heavy, it's not going to just fall through and break. So this one's got a snipping from Bunnings online. It's saying that this Prestige 96mm brushed nickel T handle is $3.64. It's saying the Taskmaster one, which is the same size, that's black, is just under $1 less. Okay, so we've got a couple of comments saying, after exploring different prices and styles of handles, I've found one for a low price that will suit the look that I'm trying to achieve. We only need one, something basic. In this next slide, I've got some information on flooring protection, which would also be good for something that's going onto a scratchable surface. For instance, if you've got a marble bench top at home, or a timber bench top, or a laminate bench top that you're wanting to protect, these ones here are the felt pads. We've got a pack of 12 that are brown, which are $6.50, and then we've got a pack of 16, which are $7. So in here it's got a little bit of extra narration of which packet it is that this person is choosing to use and why. Now, our joining investigations is having a little bit of a look at the actual solid timber construction joins that you're wanting to use on your major project. A really good example of not what to use are biscuit joints and rebate joints and dowel joints. They're what we class as the lower end joints. You can use them in certain aspects of your project, but you really need something in there like a mortise and tenon joint that's haunched, or for example this one here is a dovetail where it's got a couple of interlocking fingers that are angled at different pitches so that they don't come apart later on. Particularly useful for a drawer in this scenario. There's other joints as well, such as the bridle joint. We've got half lap joints. You can use half lap joints on an angle to form a cross bracing at the end of a bookshelf or the end of a desk, and they look quite nice. And there's a whole array of other joints that are available to you. So some that are at the front of the workshop in TE6, as I said earlier, the mortise and tenon joint, the bridle joint. There's one that looks like the top of a castle, which is an interlocking bridle joint. It's made of 3 pieces and it simulates a leg of a project and then 2 interlocking arms for each way that joins onto the other legs. So there's a whole array of joints out there. You can even make up your own joint if you like. But pre-existing ones, look at the advantages and the disadvantages, and then we can give it a little bit of a test. This is the last part that I would like you to get to. This is the materials investigation. So this is where you're saying, this is the material type that I'm wanting to use for my major project, and this is why. So I've come through and populated a list of key features that are required for the major project out of this timber type. So one of the criteria is that it's solid timber. Another criteria is that it's a lower ranging budget. Some of the hardwood timbers can be really quite expensive per lineal metre. We've got a versatile array of sizes available, so that's when it's actually delivered to school, or if you go to a hardware store to purchase, you might want something which is quite chunky, for instance a 90mm by 45mm piece of material. Or you could want something that's a 290, nearly a ruler's width, by 19mm piece of board to be able to make a tabletop. So by writing in here a versatile array of sizes available, we're probably talking mostly radiata pine. There's not much Moranti that we store or source at school, which is very thick and chunky material. And same thing with our plywoods, is we don't really get that very thick and chunky either. So if you are wanting a thicker kind of leg to a project or anything that's more square in shape, you probably want to be going radiata pine and then staining it after to achieve the look that you're wanting. In here I've also got that it's ethically sourced, meaning that it's not just native trees that have been chopped down, and a lower grain density to allow for a quick manufacture time. We've only got about 7 to 8 weeks to actually build your major project, and so we want to try and do everything that we can to speed up that time so that it's not going to be as arduous. So once I've listed those key features that I want from my material, I've done a bit of an investigation and included a reference list at the end of the main material that I'm wanting to use. So in this instance, I will be manufacturing my major project using radiata pine. The radiata pine that our school sources is grown locally in Mount Gambier, which is in South Australia. This timber is grown in plantation forests, specifically designed for timber production, rather than using depleting sources of native timber. Also, by sourcing locally, there are less carbon emissions due to transporting timber to closer to home, as well as boosting the economy by providing work for our fellow South Australians. Radiata pine has pale yellow sapwood and a reddish brown, varying to shades of yellow for the heartwood. So that's talking about the different growth rings and grain structure that pine has. The grain and texture is non-uniform, consists of alternating bands of early wood and late wood, so that's the heartwood and the sapwood that have the different colours. It has straight grains, it has knots that are usually present in constructional timber grades. So our big chunky 90 by 45 that we have on the rack is a constructional timber grade. The school sources radiata pine in an array of grades and sizes, making it versatile and an affordable material to use. So this is just a general statement that I've used out of researching 3 or 4 sites that tell us a little bit about radiata pine's grain and texture, where it's from, how it gets to the school, and it actually ticks all of these. So it says that it's a solid timber, it says that it's relatively budget friendly, it says that it comes in a variety of sizes. It's ethically sourced because it's grown in a plantation forest, and it says that it's got the light yellow of the sapwood, but haven't really talked much about the grain density. So it's got the grain texture is non-uniform, but we probably could add in some extra information here about what is good about it, what is useful for while we're actually constructing our joins. Now, if you need any more help with any more information on this task, you can find everything that you need on our task sheet. So next to each of these checkpoints, there is usually a brief statement that quite succinctly tells you what you need to do.